Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Sasha Reade. I've got some fun shares to share with you today. I'm going to jump right on in and get to showing you a few of the cards that I have been making. I have super needed some birthday cards and this has been a project I've wanted to do for a really long time. Most of the products I've used today are from Alina's shop, but I will point out where there are products from other shops. I would do my best to link everything below for you if you want to find any of this stuff. I do make mistakes occasionally and forget something, so please pop me a comment if I've forgotten anything and I'll be happy to try and find it for you. I also have a little sneaky something in the middle of my video, so make sure you're watching the whole video. And please do like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate you spending time with me, and it makes me feel so good to see people subscribing and commenting and liking my videos. It gives me such encouragement like you wouldn't believe. So please do subscribe and drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Let's get started. So one of the things I really wanted to do was make use of my dies and find more ways to use them. And I've been really wanting to make backgrounds with my dies for a while, and I pulled out some of the dies I really wanted to use, which ended up being an enormous pile. So I still have several dies I haven't yet used that I really would like to use that are in my let's do this pile. I also have another video coming up very soon where I'm going to share with you some ombre techniques involving this technique of using dies for backgrounds. So let's get started. I'm going to share with you some tutorials, little clips that I've done along the way to kind of explain how I did some of the processes, and I'm going to walk you through each card. So we're going to get started with this card here, and I'm going to share with you how I put it together. So I've grabbed some of my foliage dies. These are from Alina's shop. I'll link them down below. And I created a little background with them. Now my original idea was to create a background and then to add a massive flower embellishment or some kind of beautiful flower embellishment. And in the end I got distracted along the way and I went with this design instead. So let's take a look at how I made it. So to get started, I took the 3 foliage dies that I just shared with you, and I die cut them all out about 3 times, 2 or 3 times each. And what I'm going to do is adhere them down to this card here. This is a front panel for a standard UK size card, and I've just got it cut down to that A6 size. And all I'm doing is adhering glue onto the back. So I've got that bit of black sponge. It's just a bit of packing sponge that came with some products that I ordered. And I just chopped it up to make use of it in my craft room. It works well to ink up edges with inks, and it also works well to use to glue on die cuts. So all I'm doing is roughly working out where I want to place my dies, adding some glue onto the backs, and then adhering them down. This surface that I'm using is a non-stick baking mat, essentially. They're really handy. It allows me to apply glue to the back of my intricate die cuts and then stick them onto my card, and I can wipe that surface off after a few of my die cuts. I like this better than paper because I find that I end up having to chuck my paper quite often, whereas this way I've just got a little wipe down my surface, dry it with my baby muslin, and I can carry on applying die cuts, and I don't have to worry about that glue getting to be a sticky mess. I've sped this process up now so you can see my process but not get bored. I'm just trimming off my edges and then using those spits that have fallen off to kind of fill in the empty gaps along the way. I'm sorry it's a bit zoomed out. Hopefully you can still see what's going on. When I've finished filling in all those gaps, I am then taking my scissors and trimming away all that excess, and then I'm left with this beautiful background with my intricate die cuts. So as you can see, it's quite simple. You're just taking a backing piece and you're attaching dies and trimming it off at the edges. Now I've added on an extra strip here of purple and then a strip of sort of a gunmetal grey. I used my new favourite sentiment strips, which are from Tailored Expressions. They're simple strips, stamps and dies. And I just have a whole box sat here on my desk, And I have all these strips that I have cut out. This is about 4 or 5 stamps worth and then die cut them out, and I just have them here and I just grab them and reach for them whenever I want to put any kind of sentiment on my card. So when I finished this off, I just added those 2 strips and then these 2 sentiments and a little bit of diamonds down there. On the inside, I backed it with the same purple and another bit of white card for writing my message to whoever it's going to go to. On the outside, I stamped it with this flower. This is from the Stampin' Up! Stamp set here. I don't think you can get it anymore. This is my all-time probably favorite ever stamp set. I bought it twice because I love it so much. I have it in wood as well as photopolymer. You can see I've well used it, but I love it for all of its, I just love all the elements in it. I think it's really cute. So I've used one of the stamps there on my envelope to kind of make it match, and I've used the same ink as my cardstock. Next up, I went for a really simple design. I used these circle dies from Surprise Creation. They're just a simple die set with a double stitched kind of wonky stitch on them, and I used the smallest one. So getting started on this card is just the same as the last one. Again, I've die cut a whole bunch of these circles and I'm just gluing them down as random as I can. Now it is quite funny because if you're watching this, it just doesn't end up very random. I didn't want too many gaps between my circles, and then I worked out that actually I'm just doing the same kind of random pattern. But never mind, it still looks quite random in the end once I've chopped off the edges of the circles, and I do try and move the circles slightly over. So I'm placing down all my circles, and then I decide that what I want to do is give it this card a bit of dimension. So what I start doing is I start to add on some circles 2 or 3 times in the same place, just to kind of give it a bit of height and a bit of character and make it slightly different. So you can see here, this is the second layer I'm applying, and then I'm applying on a second layer on that one there as well. So I just trim off my edges and use those if I need to add a bit more on to other circles. It's always a good way to use up the scraps that you're cutting off and put them back onto the card, so there's minimal waste as possible, and it saves you on die cutting all of those dies again. This tonic glue is one of my favorite glues to use. It's really sticky, dries really quick, and I've bought the Gina K glue before, and I swear this glue is the exact same, but you get about 3 times the amount. So it is one of my preferred glues to use. It works really nicely. So in some of these circles I've got 1 single layer, some I've got 2, some I've got 3. Now this is Bermuda Bay Stampin' Up! Ink refill for an ink pad. This cardstock is actually from AlinaCraft, but is a near identical match to the Bermuda Bay. And so all I'm doing is putting down a small drop of pure ink, and I'm just adding a bit of water to it. And what I want to do is kind of make the background all kind of come together. So I'm adding some of this teal color and doing splatters. Now it does look really dark. It does dry lighter and looks about the same color. It took me a while to work out my splatter as well. I really suck at doing it. I kind of covered my desk. I've got Gina K's black amalgam ink as well. Now this doesn't mix so well with water, but I worked it enough that it did end up mixing with the water, but it does kind of look a bit gray rather than black, or a really pale black, I should say. And so I'm doing the same thing again. I am getting some splatters on there because I knew I wanted to have probably a black sentiment or something like that on the card, and I wanted one other color to happen on the card as well. So I'm just adding some more black splatters. I'm trying to get it in the little white spaces because for some reason the black only seemed to want to go on my blue circles. And this kind of finishes up the background for my card that I've made. So to finish off this card, I simply added 2 sentiment strips on the front. On the inside, I added some stamped images in the same color as my cardstock. I also inked the edges of both my bits of card. And I also stamped the same circle on the envelope. This is another Stampin' Up! Stamp set, and I just thought it was really fun that I managed to have a stamp set that matched my die cuts. So I kind of coordinated it and put it all together. This next card here, I used a set of butterfly dies, which I'll share with you in a minute, and I created this lovely background with a bunch of shimmer. These butterflies were all cut out of a background die from Alina's shop. So there you can see the die that I used. This is one of 3 from her shop. They all layer on top of each other. And this is my DIY Wink of Stella or glitter pen refill that I've made. So as you can see, it's been sat there a little while, so I give it a bit of shake and a bit of a stir with my paintbrush. This stuff looks very similar to Wink of Stella, but costs a fraction of the amount. I've done a tutorial on this, so if you want to see how I made it and the ingredients I used, then I will link that video down below as well as at the end of my video. So I've just got a paintbrush here, and all I'm going to do is apply it onto my butterflies to make them shiny. Now I've sped this up for you so you don't get too bored again, and all I'm doing is just applying a nice thin layer on, and it goes on beautifully and you get this nice shimmer look on these butterflies. Now I did do all of the butterflies and it probably only took me maybe 5 minutes or so to do. It didn't take long at all. So I adhered my butterflies as I did on all my other cards, and then I took my same shimmer stuff and I kind of did that flicking thing all over the front of it again to kind of blend it out. To finish off this card here, I added on a butterfly which I picked up from AliExpress. I've added on some Tailored Expressions sentiment stamps. On the inside I added a Stampin' Up! Stamp and some glitter card to match the front and a bit of white so I could write my message. I stamped the same stamp on my envelope as well. So in all of my crafting, I found that I was very desperately needing some male or masculine boy birthday cards. So I got out some of my basic shapes. These shapes here are from Surprise Creation Store on AliExpress. And I just die cut them out of some leftover blue shiny, it's like a smooth glitter cardstock. My Happy and my Birthday are from Alina's shop on AliExpress, and to finish off my card, die cut Happy and Birthday from 3 pieces of black pearlescent card, which matches my actual cardstock, and stuck those on the front along with the gems. Now on the inside, I just simply put a piece of white cardstock, and that finished off my card. Now my envelope, I took my last remaining star and just glued it onto my black envelope, which finished off my card really nicely and tied them in together. Now I really liked those stars, so I thought that I would come in and do another 2. So I've got these 2 cards in craft cardstock, and again I stacked the Happy Birthday in 3 layers but did not put the shadow outline on the back of them. I just left them as Happy Birthday, and I've got my stars there in the background. For the inside on this one, I thought it would be fun and finished it off with these Surprise Creations dies. They're the same as the circles with that kind of wonky edge, but they are rectangular. So I stuck one of those panels on the inside of my card to kind of have a little highlighted writing space. And then for this one, I die cut out a piece of vellum, which I had double-sided sticky tape on the back, stuck on one of my Tailored Expressions sentiment strips with some Nuvo drops, backed it onto a bit of glitter card, and then did the same on the inside of this one. And then I've got these envelopes here which are craft colored, and I just took some of the stamps in my collection and stamped a little pattern on the front of them. So I've got my envelopes ready to go with my cards so that I can give them out as soon as I need them. Now this card here, I used some heart dies. I've got this set of 4 layering stacking dies from Alina's shop. They all layer up to make a beautiful focal image for your background, but I decided I wanted to use the hearts that it die cuts out to create my background. So it was a really quick and easy way. I think I die cut out 2 of them and had plenty of hearts to do my background. So really quick and easy way to get another purpose out of your dies is to use the die cuts that kind of pop out. So to finish off this card, I stuck on the word celebrate, which is from Alina's shop. It comes with a shadow die, and die cut out the word just once, 1 layer on top of some vellum, which I used my double-sided sticky sheets for to stick down. I actually ran this top layer through my Big Shot after I'd put all of the dies on, which kind of gives it a slightly smoother effect. It almost makes it look a bit more like it's blending into the paper in the background. I backed it onto some glitter purple cardstock, and I stuck one of these giant flowers on from AliExpress. I love these flowers. I've used up almost all of them now. I really didn't think I would, but they are so pretty and they seem to match everything, so I keep sticking them on. For the inside of my card, I stamped a couple roses and backed it again with that purple glitter to kind of tie it into the front. So I love doing the inside of my cards, and I love layers, so my card feels quite heavy and quite substantial, but I love that. I haven't done anything with the envelope, but I have got a purple envelope, which really excited me.